is an awesome movie. Like, this is so good. Star Trek is a great, like, they rebooted it, and I think they're doing a great job. And this one really involved, like, they crashed their ship, and it's all about, you know, this guy who's making, like, they're tempting, like, what is it? I'm sorry, I'm not going to say this correctly, but they're tempting the Union or the Federation, I think they're called. This might be a Star Wars term, and I'm sorry, Trekkies out there, but they're tempting the ships to all come to these distress calls, and the distress calls are fake. They're really just these group of, like, crazy animatronic ships trying to, like, kill the captains and everybody in the ship. So the main ship and the captain and all them get abandoned on this forsaken place, and they're stuck there, and they're trying to figure out a way out. But everybody thinks kind of like, oh, they're dead. And they meet a cool cast of new aliens, and someone that I was even, like, it's like this elf-looking girl with, like, this dark eyes, and she's really cool, and she kicks some butt, and I almost was like, God, I kind of want to cosplay her if I wouldn't have to paint my face and everything so hardcore. But no, it was just the trilogy. I think it's the final of the trilogy. I hope they make more. But Star Trek Beyond it kind of pulled on your heartstrings a little bit, and people are, you know, threatening almost maybe someone dies in this one. We're not for sure. I'm not giving away spoilers, but it's out now. I saw that it came out maybe like a month ago, but it's out. And I think if you guys haven't seen it, or if you're a Trekkie, you know, it goes by the lines of what Star Trek is all about, and it's one of those that, I don't know, and I think it's the last one that Chekhov, you know, the actor who plays the Russian boy is in, because he died in a car accident this year. Everybody died this year, dude. Ugh. 2016, sad. But, yeah, it's his last movie, and so it was really cool. It was really good. They had a little thing at the end about it, so nice.
Well, it is kind of interesting you talking about this, because, you know, Star Trek being science fiction, and I think we had one of those conversations, I might be wrong, where it seemed like, you know, you weren't too into the whole science fiction deal, but, you know, when you saw Stranger Things, you kind of got hooked on. You know, here you have, you know, Star Trek is one where, you know, it's kind of surprising. What kind of really drew you to liking this and kind of giving this science fiction more of a chance?
I actually have always kind of gone to see the Star Trek movies with my dad, because he's always been a Trekkie. He loves Star Trek. So I've seen all the other ones, and I've enjoyed them. They just weren't, like, ones that, like, popped out to me, because, again, like you said, I'm not, like, that into just space exploration, you know, do all goes beyond, what's beyond the stars. But, I don't know, this one was just really action-packed, and like I said, it started off basically with a distress call, and they're, you know, trapped on an island, everything's happening, and it's almost hopeless, and it just had a really good plot, and pulled on a bunch of different heartstrings. It really kept me involved in the movie. You couldn't look away, because things were happening. Everything, like, if you looked away, something happened, and you missed it, and now you gotta go back.
Right.
I don't know, it's just really involved, and I liked all the different characters and the different creatures they introduced. And they introduced, I think in this one, that Sulu, the Asian guy on the ship, he was gay. Because you know how the original actor, I'm going to get his name on, Taki or something? It's kind of like a Captain Sulu, or Sulu.
You mean George Takei? Like what's his name?
Yeah, because you know how he you know didn't come out for a long time, and then it came out as he's gay.
Yeah.
They actually made the character in Star Trek gay.
Huh.
It was kind of interesting, because like they were showing. Again, I don't want to give away everything, but basically another hopeless scene, and they were showing, like, at the end when he hugged his husband and their daughter and everything. You're like, oh, I remember they were going to do that, but I didn't get to see it till this this one. So a lot of things came out about Star Trek that you're like, okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. I'm glad they're doing this. This gives you a whole different side. So I don't know. I don't know why I was just drawn to it, but like I said, I go to it because my dad really likes it, and now I like it. So.
Well, if I could just take this moment to give a shout out to your dad, Mr. Tori's dad. You should be proud of your daughter right now because she remained a Trekkie all these years. So you won this battle. I don't know if I don't know if I could cross her over to the dark side, that being Star Wars, but we'll see.
But I also feel like people forget about Star Trek. Don't you? I feel like I haven't heard much about the movies, but it's done good.
Yeah, I think they've been pretty good. Now we get into the last major one that I want to hit on, which, oh boy. You talk about basically having every Marvel fantasy just come alive. You cannot get any better than Captain America Civil War. Holy cow, this just sets the wheels in motion for when we get to Infinity War. Because, guys, this was probably the highest grossing superhero movie of all time. And honestly, can't really blame them as to why they say that, because you had every single superhero that you could possibly imagine. You had the originals. Unfortunately, we did not get a chance to see, either Thor or Hulk, but at the same time, we got introduced to, reintroduced to Ant-Man, as played by Paul Rudd, who did an amazing job of that movie. And also Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, Peter Parker, who, again, just really... You definitely could tell that, the way that they portrayed this Spider-Man was that he was very green. He was still learning quite a bit. But at the same time, he did, quite an amazing job playing it off. It is another one of those movies where it was a balance of excitement, adventure, good story, basically talking about, why Bucky, Winter Soldier, was doing the things that he was doing. We get a little more answers as to what happened with Tony Stark's parents, and just continuing on this build of the tension between Captain America and Tony Stark. It just really played out very well in this movie, and all in all, this was just a fantastic movie. And still, one of my favorite lines from this movie was when Spider-Man was going up against, I think it was Falcon and Bucky. He basically has him tied down the web. He's like, "Hey, Tony Stark tells me that I got to take you guys out. Sorry." Next thing you know, he gets taken out by the Falcon and and then Bucky's just like, "You couldn't have done that earlier," and he just goes, "I hate you." I'm like, well, they're on the same page, but they obviously have no love for each other. Great show of teamwork, you guys. Captain America, you picked some winners.
There's just no words to describe how good that movie was. So, like you said, it just made me more stoked for when they get everybody on board.
Actually, what was crazy was after seeing Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy, Civil War, I actually messaged my co-host Max, and I said to him, "Please tell me we're going to get all of these people in Infinity Wars." And he said, "Oh God, I hope so," because Civil War, if that's a sign of things to come, you can guarantee that Infinity War is just going to be that much better, if not probably even more grossing in financials, because holy cow, it will just I think it'll just destroy the box office, and everybody's going to be watching it again and again and again, because you look at the amount of people that they had in here, so much star power in this movie alone, that when you get into Infinity War, it's like, geez, how are they going to be able to pay off every single one of these guys? Because this is going to have to make like boatloads of money.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, they have too much star power. Overload of stars.
Geez, because then you're going to probably have, Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper, trying to remember, Bruce Banner, you have Chris Hemsworth, freaking Doctor Strange, you're going to have every single one, but obviously that's still going to be a few years down the line. I don't know if it's going to be coming out in either 2018 or I thought somebody said 2020. I could be wrong about that, but they still have quite a few movies to build up a lot of these other Marvel characters before finally having them all collect in Infinity Wars. So at least we have a little bit of a brief, breathing time before we get to Infinity Wars. So thank God for that.
Yes. And I mean, like you were just saying, like we have more movies before that we get to get stoked about too. So.
All right, so what was your final movie that you really wanted to touch base on?
Yeah, so like I said, I was trying to do them in some sort of order of timeline of what month they came out. So my last one that I saw pretty recently was that I wanted to make sure was on here because, everybody loves Harry Potter, and the Harry Potter universe is expanding for us with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I am not going to lie, I'm not the hugest Harry Potter fan. So going to see this movie, I was like, I'm hearing such good things that I'm nervous that I'm not going to know what it's going to be about. But I got in there, and it starts off with a bunch of newspaper clippings of years and dates and people's names, and I'm like, oh man, and I'm not going to get this movie at all. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know who Renwall or whatever this guy is who's ruining everybody's life. And then the movie starts, and it just keeps going, and there's so much going on, so many different creatures and different wizards, and kind of tying it into other historical things, because it's in like the 1920s, like how people can't get loans at the bank, and all these different things. What's the 1920s? Yeah, it was like almost near the end, so yeah, during around when the Great Depression was going to be happening. People weren't having the greatest lives, and so they were blaming wizards and other things and magical things, kind of like witch trials. So it was really cool, and J.K. Rowling, of course, made up this world, and I know they're going to have more and more movies and more based off of the world of Harry Potter and the wizarding world of Harry Potter. And it was just an awesome movie about this guy who's just a wizard who collects animals and tries to save the magical animals of the world because people have been killing them off because they don't think that these magical animals are safe because they can kill people, but they all have their own purpose. So he's been trying to save these animals, and he's going to America. He's coming from London or from Great Britain, the UK. What's Great Britain? What year is this? And he's going to release an animal that he found that was supposed to be in Arizona. It's supposed to be a desert, like, giant golden eagle thing. I don't know what it is, but it's just awesome. And so he's going to go to America, and he gets into New York City, and he runs into a guy with the same briefcase, and they switch. Kind of a typical briefcase switch scenario, but it turns into them having a wild adventure, and yeah, things going awry, and a bunch of evil wizards coming out of America now too. And I think it's kind of cool that she's involved, that J.K. Rowling kind of like brought it over to America. She has such a following here that people like kind of geek out. That I think it's pretty geeking. That it's like, oh, now the wizards are here too. We have wizards too.
Right.
But yeah, have you seen Fantastic Beasts?
Have I seen Fantastic Beasts? I unfortunately have not. I will probably rent it when it comes out on DVD. I know that'll be a little bit late, but at the same time, I don't know. Harry Potter never really jumped out at me, and I don't know. I think that when it came to like wizardry, witchcraft, it's kind of one of those things where growing up, it was kind of like a no, not allowed to see or stuff like that. But then as I got older, it's like it's not really a no for me. It's just one of those things where it's like, I think there's other people that I could probably be interested in. I mean, it's always about like the same characters over and over again, and apparently Harry Potter fails at school almost every single time because it feels like he's almost like in the same grade every single freaking 8 movies that he's been in.